Father, as we approach your word tonight and to realize to have a time to consider who you are and what you are like, and the wonder and amazement of what you know, and Lord, just give us a kind of insight that we need, a mind's eye to see who you are and what you're like. And Lord, we know that'll most impact our life. And that's what we want. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, turn to Psalm 139, verse 1. This is a psalm related to the character of God. Help you to kind of bracket this. The last verse helps as well. Where it's going in verse 24, actually 23 and 24. Part of how God knows, and then the psalmist asks God to search him and to know his heart. So for somebody who's, trying to be right, this is a great encouraging psalm. For somebody who's trying to hide, this is not an encouraging psalm because it's all going to be exposed. Because God knows everything about what's going on. So we're going to start with Dave. It says for the choir director, a psalm of David. O Lord, you have searched me and known me.
So psalm is
tells you it's a song.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they would have sung
it.
Yeah. Okay. It's from David, one of David's psalms, and he knows. It seems to be past tense. You have searched me and known me. That David is fully aware that God has searched who he is and knows who he is.
So,
and that he. Go ahead.
Just give me an explanation of search. Like we think of search, like, you put up on Google because you don't know and you type it in. And how is that? What is it implying that he searches? Because he already knows.
He's involved in my thoughts. He searched my thoughts and my heart and intentions that I have, and he knows who I am.
So is
whether it be good or bad
or maybe a word. I have a word. The idea of examine. He examines. Yeah. The reason why I like examine is because it means he's bringing it to the surface, making me aware of it, of his examination.
Okay.
And the idea is that. Whether for reward, whether for encouragement or correction, whatever that is, he is examining me. The thing is that when he examines me, he could point out, okay, this is what I want you to change, this is what I want you to do. And so what does this describe to us about God? Attribute about God.
His knowledge of all things.
Yeah.
So if he's searched me, he's been in different. He knows all the points in my life, not just where I'm at right now. He's known where I've been in the past, present,
yep,
and where I'm going in the future.
Yep.
So his presence, I guess, would be, as well as his.
Yeah, it has a sort of omnipresent presence, mostly all-knowing. But the idea of it's kind of the wonder of it, amazement of it, that he knows such details that hardly know ourselves. He uncovers it. His knowledge is penetrating. This is more than just the vacuum of facts. This is just not facts about you.
Well, it's not. He's not using it to use it against us. He's using it to work with us together to change what he wants.
Yep.
It's not like he's going to use, I know this information, now I'm going to use it against you. No, I know this, but this is how you can be better. I'm going to improve you and guide you and direct you, and not demean you, put you down, shove you to the side. He's using it in a positive sense, not a negative sense.
So how can God use how does his complete knowledge of you alter the way you think and do things? I mean, what does it stop you from doing? It would stop you from what?
Doing dumb stuff.
Pretending, right?
Pretending.
Right.
Yeah. Lying, and then, okay, well, he already knows what the truth is, so might as well forget lying's not an option.
Yeah.
And that you can, since he already knows it, you can confess it and ask him to help us deal with whatever
Yeah.
we're struggling with.
Yep. So he's very much aware, very penetrating in his knowledge. J. Ewing, verse 2, you know when I sit down, when I rise up, you understand my thoughts from afar.
Just really helps, I think, put some, Dave talked about, knowing thoughts. Well, that's in this verse. I mean, it just really expands on what verse 1 says. Yeah.
So even contrast that. What's the difference between knowing me? I mean, I guess that's an implied word. He searches me, so that should be there. What's the difference between knowing my thoughts and knowing me? I mean, what could be distinct about it?
I don't. Well, the first, when I sit down and when I rise up, it really talks about what you're physically doing.
Okay.
If you're going to, like in David's case, God knew he knew with Bathsheba what was going to happen. So that was like he knew this action before it happened.
Yeah.
The thoughts are like he knew, if we use that example also, that how he was going to try to cover it up, all the things that he was planning to do to try to hide this act that he did. So he knew all those thoughts.
Yeah.
And he knew it before David even knew it.
Yeah.
So I think it just.
Or even when David does know it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the idea is that he just understands. I think maybe the thought between he knows, because your thoughts can be jumbled, but he can still understand who I am. And tell me about what do I do when I'm sitting down?
Well, I think when you're sitting down is when you're actually thinking. You're actually contemplating things, whether it's. It could be. It doesn't have to be a negative way. It could be on a positive way as well. You could be meditating on how great God is.
Yep.
And so that he could be, doing that, and God would be, pleased when you do that.
What about rising up? What would that be?
Usually when you rise up, you're in the process of you're going to do something.
Yeah.
So it's going to lead to some action.
Yeah, so he knows when we're resting. He knows when we're actively engaging something. He knows that. And he understands. He understands exactly what we're thinking and who we are. And Jay Walker says, you scrutinize, verse 3, scrutinize my path and my lying down and are intimately acquainted with all my ways.
Yeah, or discern or search my path. So he knows where I'm going, when I'm going to get there, if I'm going to be late. And path knowledge, lying down, he knows I can't sleep. He knows when to wake me up. And and are intimately acquainted with all my ways. Yeah, and he knows what I'm going to do when I'm going to do it.
So, how does this... What?
And he's still safe.
Yep. So, what should this do in your thinking? How should this affect the way you think about life?
Think more about him.
In what way?
I don't know, keep myself, mind Christ, mind Christ more often.
Yeah. I mean, if he's, say, for instance, scrutinized, if we use that, or winnowing, scatter type of a thing, is that, does my path matter to, I need to know what I'm doing, right?
Well,
Yeah, but I need to know.
does it matter to us or him? Yeah.
Well, we don't want to just take these thoughts and this is what he knows. All of what he is should affect the way I behave. It's not the idea, well, he knows everything, so I'll just do whatever. That would be a wrong response. I have to have the right, these things that would create a right response. What would be the right response to God scrutinize my path? He's nosy. He's jumping into my biz. What's he doing? Can't he mind his own business? Doesn't he have something else to do?
I don't want him to know my stuff.
What?
I want him to know everything I'm doing before I do it. Yeah.
Why?
Because just so he'll, because the way I don't know how to word it. So he'll, so if there's something I'm going to be doing that's wrong, he'll leave me out of it. And or he'll convict me somehow. Yeah.
So, can I ever say this? Nobody understands me.
No, you can't.
You can't, yeah. Right, right, because he knows me, right?
Yeah.
He knows everything about me. He knows how to prevent me from the temptation overwhelming me, right?
Yeah.
He knows, right? He says, no temptation is taken you, but such is common to man. God is faithful, not allow you to be tempted above what you're able, right? The temptation. He knows our breaking point. Okay? And he is acquainted with who we are.
Yes.
And the thing is that he scrutinized our path, my lying down. The thing is that I better be lying down in the right place, doing the right thing. Part of it is that God's knowledge should make us transparent and honest.
Yeah.
Right? It really should make us, if he already knows it, what's the use of hiding it?
No, you can't hide nothing.
Right. But people do, right?
No.
People do the pretend. I mean, you got people pretending. And the thing is that, so it helps in different ways. And, how we,
No hiding. No.
yeah. So even when you don't have thoughts that you don't really know how to formulate, just like you just did a few moments ago,
Yeah.
right? He understands
Oh,
your intentions about what you're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
If you're trying to understand who he is, he knows that. The beautiful thing about it is if we choose to have a desire. Now, part of it is God's knowledge could make a person ambivalent, okay, indifferent. Kind of like destiny. That's how they have destiny. Whatever will be, and whatever. Doesn't really matter. God knows everything, then. But these are told to us about his knowledge so that we would choose different paths. He knows, or choose the path that we need to respond to. So if he's acquainted with my ways, then I can trust him to take care of me, right? Because he knows my ways. Yeah. Kim?
The fact that he is acquainted with each one of us, and he examines us. Is it that he's just watching, or he's interacting so that he gets to know what we are like? In other words, is there any testing involved?
Part of it is that the testing is for us to know, because remember that the last Psalm, what we're going to do is ask God to help us with who we are.
But this being acquainted with us, is because the fact that he's omniscient and he just
knows. Right.
He's watching. Is it watching? Is he seeing it? Seeing how we function, or like this getting up and lying down, he knows our schedule.
He knows it, and the thing is that he wants to be involved in it. So part of that is that we have to see him who he is and invite him in to help us with it. That's part of the thing, is that there's almost a sense in which he knows it, but he wants us to ask him to help us with what he knows. Not to remain outside and limited in what he's doing with his knowledge. And it's kind of like I want him to fix me with his knowledge, so I'm inviting him in to do something about it, about my problems or my direction. Does that answer? Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I see it just because he is God and he does know everything.
Yeah.
And if I know that he knows everything, he can help me, then of course I would want to invite him in.
Yeah.
To be involved.
Yeah, there's almost a sense in which that he knows everything, but not everything do I let him involve himself. And I think this is part of what the psalm is. I want to invite him in.
Because he doesn't automatically. We have to.
If I want him to help, okay, because I don't know I don't know the future. It's not necessarily about the future. It's about me. Mm-hmm. He knows who I am. I'm not just a number. But there's almost a sense in which people avoid inviting God in. It is not that he doesn't know. It's just that they're not asking him to involve himself. I mean, in him we live and move and have his being. He's not far from any one of us. But that we might grope after him, that we might find him, as it says in Acts. You got something, Aaron?
It almost seems it's like we're in a glass house. And our activity and stuff, he knows everything about it, like watching from the outside, but we need to invite him in to be, he wants to be invited in to be a part of it.
Yeah. Yep.
The character of who he is, that's the part we're missing anyway. That's
Yeah.
the part that was lost in the garden.
Right, and the thing is, we're also observing how he's working in our life and appreciating that and interacting with that and enjoying that. So, all right, Dan, even before there is a word on my tongue, behold, Yahweh, you know it all.
Coming to this part, you can almost take these and take a few things out and turn to some guy and put his presence once a year. Knows what
Yeah.
Santa Claus, people take out.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is that. So, it's a point of knowing he knows and so intimately with or without us wanting it at a time, we're coming to realize that he does, and coming to love it because when you listen and you realize what he's doing, when you see him working, you're like, wow, thank you for that. At times, he'll let you know, he knows what you're going to say.
Yep.
So even if even the thoughts to yourself that no one else can hear. The ones in your head you can hear. He knows what you're thinking, attention. Before it comes out of your mouth, he knows what you're going to say. So it's like, it's not just...
it's quick, right? It's in the...
we're finding out quick he already knows.
Yeah.
We're the after effect.
So, what importance is this to me?
To me, is you can trust that he's holding everything in control of all things, including ourselves. And he's using it to shape us into something. More of him surrounding, more even for being resistant parts of our heart that are hardened. If we're not aware of it, we can bring that out. We can bring trouble for ourselves. And, give you a good look at yourself.
So, on a negative way, it could be that we're held accountable for our words, right?
And the point when you see him.
But let's move it to a positive. What would be a positive?
Watching him work or seeing consistent, faithful service to him and people, the way he treats people. What he does with yourself. So you kind of almost can expect what was God going to do with this. Because if you make him the desire heart, will give you hidden treasure, will give you the desire of your heart.
Let's talk about just the word part. Why is it beneficial to me before even my words hit my tongue?
Oh, also, not just to speak without blabber, but he knows at times, like you said, don't worry me brought before judges, don't worry what you're going to say.
Yeah.
He already knows. It's there. The words are ready to be said. Also, it makes us think before we speak.
Yeah.
realize, what am I saying? Am I just going off and talking out of the side of my neck? Am I thinking? Am I reacting? Am I responding properly?
But see, he can help us to formulate our
All of
words.
it,
Yeah. The thing is that the quickness, he's never caught off guard.
No,
Okay,
he's not.
with our words.
And that can also calm us down. Then I have to give such a quick response. And I feel that drive of that. Why am I that's so obsessed about I have to. You don't have to.
Yeah.
He already knows both sides, inside out, all sides of it.
Yeah.
But it'll come out. Just trust him.
Yes, because sometimes our words don't express exactly what we think. But he understands who we are, even though the words, he understands. I mean, are there any other applicational thoughts related to the idea he knows my words?
I mean, just groanings to you for words.
Yeah. And sometimes our words don't express fully who we are, what we're thinking, right?
Right. You may have to keep wrestling with that to get a clearer picture how to describe it.
Yeah, I think this works on both sides. I think we understand people. He gives us understanding, even though their words may not be exactly right.
Oh, it's like talking to someone. You see what I'm talking about? Maybe I hope you say I don't get it. Or yeah, I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. Yep. Anything else? All right, Craig. Ye have enclosed me behind and before and laid your hand upon me.
Okay, I may be way off on the English.
Okay.
He enclosed me behind and before. That means that he everything knows everything we're going to do. Right? And you laid your hand upon me and said, like, you're guiding me with your hand. You're guiding me in the direction that you want me to go.
So some of those are the applications, right? I always think about this. His hand is on this side, his hand is on this side, and he's got another hand on this side. Right. So basically, right, he encompasses us all, right? So some more thoughts. Give me more thoughts about how this might affect me.
Well, I mean, if you know.
I'm trapped. That's what it means. God's got me trapped. I'm in a box. I'm in this glass house.
He knows everything behind us.
Yeah.
Of course, we want him to open our eyes to our past sins, so we know what sins we need to
Yeah.
repent of them, and show us as we go forward.
Yeah.
Correctly would convict us of things we'll be doing in the future.
Yep. So he is, this is kind of a present thing. He's like right there in the back and forth. Could he protect you even if you're driving out Southfield? Ask Hope, she knows. But you realize, wow, whatever's behind me, whatever's in front of me, whatever's going on, whether it's dropping from up above me, he's there. He's got his hand there. He's not like, slipped Craig out of my hand, dropped him. Yep.
It also means that nothing gets to me that he hasn't allowed either.
Yep. And that is, 'cause it's not going to drop. It's not going to come in either direction. It's got all of that.
It's almost like a shield. It's on this side and this side and over top of.
So we can trust him in that. Susie, such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is too high. I cannot attain it.
So the fact that he knows me, when I sin, when I rise against me, and he knows my thoughts, those things are too big. They're really wonderful, and they're so high I can't even grasp it, really.
I mean, you ever have other thoughts like that when you try to think far enough about God and you just kind of like, your head starts hurting? Because it's just like let's say, for instance, he knows all the details like that. So what does this tell me about applying? How does this apply? This is an application, isn't it?
It's God is a joy to you. I don't know how that's application.
We shouldn't. Well, the thing is, wonder, excitement, right? This is a great application, right?
You want to tell everybody.
Right? Tell everybody, and just like, it's okay that God blows your mind, right? That's an application. It's a very good realization. Wow, I can't put it all together, and I'm wowed by it. It's good to be wowed by God. If somebody thinks they got them figured out right, that's a problem. So.
It reminds me of, is it Romans 11:36? For from him and through him,
Yep.
to him are all things.
Yep.
To him be the glory forever.
Yep.
Things are too high for us to attain to.
Well, and also verse 33 says, "Oh, the depth of the wisdom and knowledge of God! How unsearchable are His ways, and traceable type of a thing." Yeah, it's to get us to the realization to see how big God really is, and the idea, I think, cannot attain it has the idea of I can't grasp the full thing, but that doesn't mean I can't grasp what I got. So.
You were last Sunday. You're talking about humility, and when we think we've got everything figured out, we're not really being humble. And this is like saying, I admit it, I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
You know everything, and I don't know anything. So it puts you in that.
Yeah, the right disposition. Aaron?
Up to this point, this is all like personal. If you look at it, like,
Yeah.
not only does he know that about me, he knows it about every single person.
Yeah.
There's where that really how
Yeah.
great and wondrous it is. Because he's talking. I mean, it's to anybody that reads it, right?
Yeah.
He's communicating
To everybody who reads it.
Yeah.
That's the idea is that he can be incredibly aware of everything and intimately involved in one person at the same time. God's not like, oh, I'm busy with Aaron and Alicia, I can't help, Dave, or whatever, It's like he can make it like you're the only one that he ever needed to save and is aware of. At the same time, we're part of a whole bunch of other people the same way.
Yeah, that's where it's like your mind just trying to wrap around like that thought.
Yeah. That's what we're supposed to do. This is one of the really great ways to just contemplate God and His greatness. Brandon, now, just so you know, one of the reasons why I picked this psalm is this verse. What do you think? What? No, well, it is not a pressure. This is because it's actually a spirit verse. Before next week, I picked the verse. Where can I go from your spirit, or where can I flee from your presence? Don't feel any pressure. Because you can always claim this. Such knowledge is too wonderful. I can't get it. See? That's a perfectly good application. Go ahead, Fred.
So these are rhetorical questions. He's not obviously asking really where to hide.
Yeah.
So he's showing that he knows that God is omnipresent. Which is like, it's comforting to know that
Yeah.
God's, if you can't hide from him, you're never out of sight. He's always with you.
Yeah, you're never going to run away, so there's never any reason to run away, right? And there's never any reason that somebody would take you away, right? And where would I... There's no place on earth where God is not intimately involved. Now, this is an interesting thing, and this is worth thinking about. How is the word spirit and how is the word presence? Because they're used as a parallel. So this is telling me something about the Spirit. Now, this could be telling me the Spirit as the person of the Godhead. Okay? It could be explaining something about the Spirit with the word presence. Now, let me give you a little idea. This word presence really means face. Where can I... When you think about face, Brandon, what do you think about the face of God? His sight? Or maybe a little bit like close, like personal. Remember in the Garden of Eden it says that they used to walk in the presence of the Lord. That's the same thing. It's an intimacy. So it appears to be that spirit and presence has the idea of connecting this intimacy. But they are just questions. Helps us to understand there's running away is useless. I don't have to run to God either in the same sense. He's there. I don't have to, I got to get to church because that's where he's at. I mean, you can see his face. And I think when you get the face idea is that it's, what they lost in the garden was a face-to-face encounter. But the Spirit brings that back to us. A kind of face-to-face. And we'll talk more about it when we get to that Spirit verse.
He forgot this verse.
He ran from the what?
Presence.
Same word. The face of God, the intimacy, the closeness. See, he's not running. Remember that Cain was cast out from, same word, presence, face, the closeness. And God's Spirit brings us close. This is an Old Testament word where it says the Spirit is actively involved in the believer's life, right? To bring his presence. So we can't ever say in the Old Testament they didn't have the Spirit and they couldn't experience God's presence like the New. That's a wrong concept. We're going to destroy that misconception later on. All right, Sue. If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, behold, you are there.
Like it said in verse 7, you can't flee from his presence. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
Even in heaven or in Sheol, he's there, no matter where you go.
How would that help you? That he's always there, no matter where there is.
Wherever I go, he's going to be there with me.
So most important thing is, but sometimes I don't feel like he's there.
No, but knowing that he is.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is that...
Knowledge of knowing that he's with you.
You know, the cosmonauts went out into space and said they didn't find God out there. Well, they ascended, he is. They'd only be looking as he really is. Sheol is probably the grave. It could be the ground. It could actually be the place of the dead. He's still there. And so the thing is, no matter how far away I go, right? No matter how high I go and down I go, God's face is still there. Which means that I can fellowship with him everywhere. Whether I'm in prison, whether I'm buried, I'm down in a bunker somewhere, he is there. I can always pray to him. I can always talk to him. And he'll show himself there. Kim, if I take the wings of the dawn, if I dwell in the remotest parts of the sea, even there your hand will lead me and your right hand will lay hold of me. You get two verses, Kim, because they're interconnected.
Yeah, they're not that easy either. Number 9.
Wings of the dawn. What is that picture? Where's the sun come up?
East.
Yeah. So if I head east, as far as I can head east. Right? If I dwell in the morose part of the sea, really down in the the trench, what is this saying? You're out of God's reach. He can't really help you down there. Once you get past 3,000.
He's everywhere.
Yeah.
And your hand will rescue me. Grab me no matter where I'm at.
Yep. So he can lay hold of me, touch me, experience. I mean, you'd feel pretty spooked if you were down in the middle of in the sea, really far as they can go down with a sub. I mean, and pretty lonely down there. But he's there. He's there. The thing is, there's nowhere where God cannot lead you. So what should this encourage me to do?
First of all, not have any fear.
Right.
Because he's there. And when I'm in trouble, I should call.
Right. Yeah, this
He's
is...
always near.
So I should be asking for his leading, right? Oh, he can't work here. This is too hard. This is too difficult. The idea of his right hand holding me, support me, grasp me, catch me. We are never outside the reality of God. Never. And his help for us. Alicia? If I say, surely the darkness will overwhelm me, and the light around me will be night.
So, surely the darkness will overwhelm me. I'm seeing that as like, I can just hide myself away. Like I can just keep my secrets to myself, and he'll never know. Light around me will become...
What is it like in pitch blackness? Let's just do a physical one.
Okay.
Let's start with that first.
Okay.
How I mean, to see utterly nothing.
Lonely.
Yep. People are overwhelmed by it, right?
Mm-hmm. You
The
can
dark.
be scared.
Scared, yep. And the idea, though, I'm blind, can't see nothing. And these if statements, I think, have the idea, what if we think along certain lines, and we get afraid, right? We get afraid because we can't see, don't know what's ahead of us, but he does.
Well, and most of the time, I think we put that fear in ourselves.
Yeah.
We let that fear build, and then we act upon that.
I mean, the reason why we have so many lights, street lights, house lights, why?
Not
I mean-
my DTE bill? Not for my kids to leave them on in every room?
Well, we get you this one too. It says, you're supporting DTE. That's even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as day. Darkness and light are alike to you.
So does that mean like, I don't know what that means. Does that mean like they don't understand night from day?
Now, what it means is that dark, in days where you couldn't see in the dark, you didn't know what was in the dark. I mean, somebody in a dark place could sneak up and you wouldn't even know that unless you heard them.
But what does that mean that darkness and light are alike to you?
Which means it doesn't stop him from knowing either one. See, we can only see things in the daylight.
Got it.
Nothing to him. It makes absolutely no difference day or night.
Okay.
Why do people get afraid at night? Because they can't see. Okay.
Right. We don't have night vision.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah, we have night goggles, we get them, people like them, but the thing is because we don't know what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
He knows everything. Which means that I should never be afraid because he knows those things.
Our secrets will be brought to light.
Right. So the thing is that even if we do it, the darkness of the way people try to do in government and their attitude or whatever, he sees it as it's bright. He knows all their motives, knows what's going on. It's plain to him. So both the physical light that could create fear or whatever that happens with light, he knows it all. So, Aaron says, for you form my inward parts, wove me in my mother's womb. I will give thanks to you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, and my soul knows it very well.
This is, we're actually in a day and age where, we get body scans and stuff like that. The depths of the human body is amazing. And the fact that he's the one who created, made it all, and made every part of me, knows it, knew it before I even knew who I was.
These people didn't even know that they had all these little parts inside their body that were all like working together and function. Yeah, we didn't even know how they worked together, and it's woven together.
We're still discovering exactly how it all functions. To think of such things about what he's done should cause, it brings about thanksgiving, because when you recognize that his hand did all of this, you really consider that it's a blessing that he understands it all, even though I don't. Fit it all together.
And even with our weaknesses, he has fearfully and wonderfully made us. There should be nothing about our physical being that should ever not bring thankfulness. We should be grateful for who we are, whether it's our hair, whether it's our color, our face, or our left big toe, whatever. You know what I mean? There's no reason to somehow think that I am not fearfully and wonderfully made. That's all. There is no individual that should not have the ability to think the same way.
It's just that our view is not his view. It says his ways are above our ways and his thoughts are above our thoughts. So we tend to put our view of like what we might call a defect or a problem or a disability or whatever, and not acknowledge that God's that's the way he wanted you to be.
Yeah. And the thing is, beauty is what he's made, not necessarily what is, this is the beautiful woman, or this is the handsome man defined by society. It's so funny before, people who were fat were actually considered blessed at some point. Just like now it's thin. It's just like, these are false kind of standards. Who you are is who you are. And God made you that way.
It's like the blind man, right? When they asked Jesus, whose sin is it?
Yeah.
It was for the glory of God.
Yeah.
That it was why he was so even his weaknesses became a display.
Yeah. It says, and everybody in this room should know this, that your soul should know it very well, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made from God's viewpoint. And that's the only viewpoint that ultimately matters. Okay? So think about that. That'll give you reason to be thankful. And my frame was hidden from you when I was made in secret and skillfully wrought in the depths of the earth.
David is saying that even before he was born, God knew all about him.
Yeah.
The beginning and the ending, every part, every thought, every molecule, cell. He knew exactly what was how David was made, what he would be. And when he says when he was made in secret, no one else saw how he was made, how God was putting him together. Skillfully wrought in the depths of the earth. I guess he's talking about the body, the depths of.
It's probably the womb.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The mother's body. You know, God knew the brain cells and the stem and all the joints and the muscles, everything.
Yeah, so from the very beginning, from a little baby, before even a baby, he's already crafting us.
Right.
So, are there babies that are accidents?
No.
There are no. All of them are wonderfully, fearfully made. God's personal involvement with them.
Is that word earth, is that connected to, like when he formed Adam out of dirt? Is that the same?
No, this is a different word for it. Yeah. Hope. You have seen my unformed substance, and in your book here are all written down the days that were ordained for me, when as yet there was not one of them.
It's kind of continuing the same thing. Unformed substance, is that still talking about child?
In the womb, yeah.
In the womb, okay. And then he's pretty much said that he already knows God already knows your future. Pretty much. He has it already written down in the sense.
How many days that you're going to live has already been determined.
Yeah. And then he says when yet there was not one of them. Does that mean that?
There's not even a day yet.
Okay, there's not even a day.
You haven't got to day one. Remember, it's our birthday is recounting. We're not even born yet. So God ordains our days. Our time is in His hands. You're not leaving a minute before God has determined your days. He's that involved in our plans. Okay?
Use this verse with your dad?
Yes. I think we're going to use on them. Yes. Yeah. My dad's found out, well, he's got cancer. He wants to, accelerate the process. It's like nothing says you can. So, but we'll pray for him and his discouragement. So, Dave, Psalm 139:17. How precious also are your thoughts to me, O God. How vast is the sum of them.
This is another wow.
Yeah.
I just a realization verse of, it reminds me of Psalm 143. You still know that I am God.
Yeah.
What can I really say? It should be joyful, humbling, exciting, all at once that He cares about each one of us this way.
Yeah, so His thoughts are that He cares about us, that He's involved with us, interacting towards us.
And He's not, in the last part, He's not, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of us. Not just, just random, we got one here.
Yeah.
It's constant, or, a lot. The older we get, it's even more thoughts that He has.
So, what other things would this apply? How else would I apply this? What does it mean?
Besides being thankful.
Yeah. What does it mean? And how precious also are your thoughts? What kind of thoughts are those?
Loving, kind, gentle.
Yeah. It's valuable, honored.
Yeah, right. We should treasure the fact that He thinks about us.
In that valuable way. He thinks in a valuable way. And they're numerous. Yeah.
He's saying they're precious. And we should think about it.
Yeah.
It's precious to Him, it should be precious to us.
Right, and we should realize we'll get the idea when He directs us or leads us to a verse or communicates that He is communicating to us how He wants us to think about ourselves based upon how He is communicating.
So is this a culminating sort of verse of the previous 16 we just did. Like all these things piled on top of each other. It's like, okay, all these thoughts he just told us about.
Yeah.
This is like,
it's like the
think about that. Like,
yeah. I mean, this could help to end any depression, any thoughts of discouragement, the idea when you are afraid, when you have difficulty, when you're frustrated, when you're confused. This is that summarizing thing. And this one fits. If I should count them, they would outnumber the sands. I awake and I am still with you. Jay?
This is just amplifying with kind of it's a common analogy that's made, but a lot of times God has told the Israelites that they were going to be, or told Abraham that his descendants would be as numerous as the grains of sand.
Yeah.
So if you've ever been to a beach, you know that it's not possible to count the number of grains of sand. He uses the same thing with the number of stars. If you've ever been out in a really dark place, it's like you're just amazed at how many stars are out there, and that's just without even using a telescope. And so he's just making the statement, it's impossible to count, for me to understand or remember or know how precious these thoughts are. And when I awake, it's almost like he's kind of dreaming about it.
Yeah.
That this is not something that's conscious, during the day. It's more like he's thinking at night.
Or even the idea is that he may have a bad dream. Somehow God left him. But when he wakes, what?
He's still there.
He's still there. Your mind can play. And you're really out of it at sleep, right? You're not. But he's still there.
Well, and as often as David being pursued,
yeah.
that woke him up, someone was after him.
Yeah, you're pretty scared in the wake. You can go to sleep, right? You can go to sleep because he's still there. Jay Walker, we're going to speed along here. Oh, that you would slay the wicked, O God. Depart from me, therefore, men of bloodshed.
Yeah, he just wants to get rid of his enemies and evil people. Yeah.
He doesn't want to hang around with who?
Oh, the wicked.
Yep, he doesn't want to.
Slay them, get rid of them. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, for they speak against you wickedly, your enemies take your name in vain.
Why would someone who belongs to Yahweh want to go and hang around people who hate him?
Yep.
That would be cut off your nose and spite your face.
Yep.
The judgment you deserve from that is earned from hanging around. It's like the absolute backwards opposite of what you want. I mean, granted, growing up and learning things, you don't always know that until when it clicks. Then you go, oh, this is what I do. I got to get away from this stuff.
Yeah, get away from these thinking. Craig, we're going to have to jump to 23. Search me, O God, know my thoughts, my heart. Try me and know my anxious thoughts.
He's just going back and basically we're saying inviting God in to search him, to interact with him, and know what his anxious thoughts are.
Why does he want him to know his anxious thoughts?
So he can help him be at peace, comfort.
Yeah. Yeah, and trying me, what would that be? The thing is that the idea is that, like, examine me, see what's really going on. The thing is that it's that same openness to say, am I right? Am I thinking the right way on this? It's a real transparency, right? This search, I think it fits kind of search too, the idea of looking, and the same thing as try. It's kind of put me to the test, because sometimes we don't really know what we're like, right, till we're put under the test. And, yeah.
Does that mean trials?
It could be trials, yep. And the thing is that there's a certain sense that we want to root out any problems that are really in our life. And sometimes they come through problems. And the thing is that we have to invite God into the search of it. Probing, confusion. He knows what I can handle, where I'm at, and what's going on. So I have nothing to fear. He knows these things, but I want you to search me. It's the idea is that, yeah, God knows our sins, but He wants us to confess them, right? Yeah.
Asking that, it's almost like, well, let me know what sets me off. Let me know where I'm acting wrong.
Yeah. What am I really worried about? What's really eating me?
Yeah, or what's important, you think, yeah, exactly, I'm in the right. Because
Yeah.
it can be the right target.
Yes. All right, Susie, finish us up and says, and see if there be any hurtful way in me and lead me in the everlasting way.
So test me or search me, see if anything that is in me that offends you, and lead me in a way that is right toward Him.
Yeah. Is He actually going to help us with this?
He is.
Does He know how to help us?
He does.
The thing is, you're asking advice from somebody who knows all about you, and it's like, you want to go the right way? Ask God. I mean, you can talk to a counselor, right? And they don't know exactly all. I mean, if you don't fess it up and bring it out, they probably may not fully know, but God does. And He also knows how to lead me, right, in the everlasting way. And hurtful ways, what might those be?
Anything that offends God.
Yeah, anything that offends God. Sin, weakness, right? Fear, pride, yep. And so God's who He is should help us to ask Him to help us. And so that should be a great encouragement. And we'll stop there.